Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another Storm Postgame Report. Charles Hamaker here with you, back from home. Uh, there's a lot going on last night at the arena, team related and non-team related. So I said, you know what? I need to get home. I need to get out of here. Um, and with the current stretch of games that we're covering, my body just collapsed when I got home. So I'm awake now, and we will do the postgame report now. Um, Like I said last time, I wish this was a win that we were able to talk about. For a good amount of this game, I felt pretty strongly that it was going to be a win for the Storm with some of the, flashes that they were able to show throughout the course of the evening. Um, just the late game execution. In this game, whoa, voice crack. The end of this game to me felt a lot like um, the end of the Mystics game here in Seattle. Uh, oh, weird. Yeah, I felt like the end of the Mystics game, and just was not good. Um, oh, interesting. It felt like at times Minnesota was effectively trying to give the game to Seattle or give them opportunities to go ahead, with the amount of turnovers and missed passes, bad shots. Um, Ultimately, that didn't happen. Seattle falls. This comes hours after the news of the Brittney Sykes trade. We will talk about that at a point in this video. I'll make it its own segment of sorts so that we can get the proper attention that it deserves. Um, Excuse me, but yeah, we got to talk about this game. Seattle loses to Minnesota 91-87. Minnesota without Nafisha Collier, who they will be without with they'll be without her for I believe it's a few weeks if I read it properly. Yeah. I um Sorry, I'm trying to get the photos up from this game from our photographer Sam, who was there for us last night, the arena. Um there we go. Uh this was a weird first half. Minnesota barely leads it coming out of the first quarter, 20-19. Seattle has a better second quarter. They hold Minnesota to just 15 points. They get a 24-point burst of their own. We go into the halftime break thinking, all right. I went into the halftime break thinking, all right, you're ahead, you feel better. After, that first half wasn't super great. Shooting wasn't great in the first half to begin with. Seattle was 1 for 6 from three. Minnesota was 1 for 8 from three. Uh, and it was kind of interesting. I was noting this on our Twitter. Um, Very even scoring. Erica Wheeler led the first quarter with 6 for Seattle. Um, Gabby Neka, Ezzy had all scored. Skylar Diggins, the lone starter, did not have scored, but she had 1 rebound, 2 assists at that point, so still contributing, of course. Dominique Malonga, 4 points off the bench in 3 minutes of first quarter action. And Tiffany Mitchell had a bucket as well. So all of the players that had gotten into the game, except for Skylar Diggins and Lexi Brown, had scored a point. And I was like, okay, even point distribution is not a bad thing. Not mad at that. Um, and second quarter, saw a big boost. We saw NECA get more involved. She had seven points in this one. Erica Wheeler had another 6 points. I think in the first half she had 12 points in 12 minutes. So nice boost for America. Skylar started her scoring in the second, 4 points there. Dom, another 4 points in the second quarter. We go to the first half. Um, where was I? Yeah. Eric is leading 12 points, as I mentioned, 12 points in about 12 minutes, with 1 assist and 1 rebound. NECA, 10 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, 1 steal. And Dom, 8 points off the bench in 6 minutes, a little under 7. We won't discredit her though. 8 points, 1 rebound in a little less than 7 minutes. Really liking what Dominique Malonga, excuse me, has been able to do. Um, in recent games, everybody has wanted to see more from Dom, in terms of opportunity, and she's got now um double-digit scoring efforts in in four of her last six. Pretty good. Um, you know, so that's cool to see. Um, Sorry, where did I go? Here we go. Um, little it was interesting. Yeah, I was noticing the three-point shooting as well, just considering the three-point shooters that Minnesota has and Kayla McBride, of course. Bridget Carlton can wake up from three. Um, you know, uh they got going. Oh no, I skipped to the third quarter. Here we go. It was pretty bad overall shooting from three-point land in the first half. Um, uh Minnesota was 1 for 8. Seattle was 3 for 13. Um, Gabby had gotten one to go. NECA had got one to go, and Erica had got one to go. But it wasn't. It was just poor shooting overall from the three-point range. And even Minnesota, after a rough second quarter, their shooting percentage overall wasn't great at 34% at the half. So, felt a bit better. Oh, I'm sorry, they're doing construction a house over. I was like, what in the world is that? Um, yeah, the 24-point second quarter helps you feel a little bit better. But as has been the case a few different times throughout the year, a rough third quarter, kind of set Seattle back a bit and was troubling. Um, this third quarter saw the Lynx outscore Seattle 28 to 21. So, Seattle had outscored Minnesota uh, by what was it, 9 in that second quarter. Um, and Minnesota gets uh the 28 the 7 point win in that third quarter, and you think, ooh, not great. Bridget Carlton woke up. She hit three pointers. Um, Courtney Williams started to get more involved with 7 points in the third quarter. Um, and again, Seattle evenly distributing, their scoring, but just not enough of it. 2 points for Gabby, 2 points for NECA, 2 points for Erica Wheeler, um, four for Ezzy, four for Skylar, four for Dom, and three for Erica. No, Timothy Mitchell, sorry, in the third quarter, that is. Um, so just not great to see. Uh, Seattle got most of their points in the paint. The three-pointer is obviously the great equalizer. Minnesota hits five of them in that third quarter alone, and they started to wake up a bit. The Lynx, in addition to their three-pointers, had started to get the fast break points. 7 fast break points for the Lynx in this quarter alone. So we go into that fourth, and I'm like, ooh boy. You knew it was going to be a big one. Just with Seattle having lost two games in a row, Vegas being a game behind them in terms of wins. Um, um, so I'm looking over the pictures and I can see the photos we've got of Tiffany Mitchell in some pain, which isn't great. Um, hmm. we didn't get an update on her either. Tiffany Mitchell, took a hard fall after being blocked fouled by Dejanay Carrington late into the second half. Um, and there was no call and really didn't get much of an update on her. Um, Post game, Coach Quinn just said she's feeling good. So that's not great. That's not very helpful. And we'll talk about some of the fouling discrepancies because that was pretty apparent as well. We had some of our favorite fans. One of them was at the game. One of them relayed a message to one of our other favorite fans to ask about the foul calls. And I don't know. It's certainly been an interesting thing to note throughout the course of this year how there's been that discrepancy. How little Gabby, Skylar, and NECA will get calls despite, and Ezzy, um, despite going into um, the paint so much, how many paint points, uh, that they get. So, it's pretty remarkable, the discrepancies there. Um, Coach Quinn even talked about it with the Brittney Sykes trade that, one of their deficiencies is a lack of getting to the free throw line. And Brittney Sykes is one of the best in the league at doing that. So it's like, oh, well, there are reasons for them not being able to get through the free throw line, but you don't think it's their fault. Um, Yeah, there's some weird stuff in here. Um, there was one, when is this? Let's see. Um, Jessica Shepard was complaining about calls all night, and a lot of them were like pretty blatantly not ones that would have gone in her way if called properly. Yeah, there's this one third quarter where they get Skylar uh for a foul going up for an attempt. Um, Seattle challenged it, and the challenge was ruled unsuccessful. But this contact is pretty pretty like not. This is not foul worthy. This is a fair contest. She doesn't like hit Shepard on the arm or anything. That's pretty remarkable. Yeah, Jessica Shepard was complaining all night long, which I mean, you could see we could see it from the press seating. It was pretty apparent and obvious that she was trying to get a lot of these calls. Um, let's see if we. Oh yeah, this Tiffany Mitchell one. Erica Wheeler is at the top of the key, tries to find a cutting Tiffany Mitchell. Dejanay Carrington comes from the top of the key to block it. Um, there's more yeah, there is more contact on this one. Oh, it's tough. Carrington's leg gets Mitchell's leg and kind of spins her like a top, and she lands on her right foot pretty awkwardly. Was ended up she was on the court in a lot of pain. Saw a bunch of the Storm starters and head coach Noel Quinn with some trainers come over. Don't think she played the rest of the game. I can get that information instead of just saying it. She had a minute and 2 seconds in the fourth quarter. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because and there were a few more. There were a bunch where I'm wondering what in the world happened. There was the one play where um you know oh, there was the weird call where Seattle should have had possession and they didn't. They only gave them 2 seconds on the shot clock, and Erica Wheeler effectively had to jack up a shot for no reason. Not for no reason, but I say no reason. The call being, what the hell are we doing? Um, a bunch of the contact fouls that were given against Seattle were pretty soft. Uh, excuse me. It just felt like Minnesota was complaining for every call. Cheryl Reeve was coming off of her bench for every call. Excuse me. And there were some missed calls as well. Um, and there was at one point where Noel Quinn came to like effectively the Lynx bench's side of the court and was like yelling at a ref that you did not call that for us, um, which is a totally fair point. Um, you know, so you kind of have to wonder about that. It's just not good at the end of the day. Um, the inadvertent whistle in the fourth quarter. Yes, that's what it was. Got it. Um, so it's the fourth quarter. This ball kind of gets loose. Um, Skylar Diggins is on the court with the ball, and then Hyman lands on it to force a jump ball. The whistle is blown and signaled as a jump ball. Yeah, we get lined up for a jump ball. Okay. Oh, yeah, the shot clock had started to wind down. Hold on, I have to watch this. Oh yeah, whistle was blown for no reason with 2 seconds left in the Seattle possession. Cheryl Reeve complains a bunch, and it's ruled an inadvertent whistle. And Seattle effectively just gets 2 seconds to jack the shot up. Um, Kind of weird. Kind of Weird. It is really weird with the Seattle team. Um, Sorry, I had to go over those a bit. Just not getting calls. Again, you're a team that's near the top of the league in points in the paint, so you're going to be in the paint a lot, which means more contact in the paint because the paint's going to be crowded if you're going to be scoring points in the paint. Uh, you're not getting those calls. These are some of the most physical players in the league in Skylar, NECA, and Gabby and Ezzy, and them being towards the bottom of the league in terms of getting to the charity stripe is ridiculous. And at one point, it just gets to player safety, because the amount of times NECA has been hit in the face and it's not been called, the amount of times she's been in the eye. She could lose her sight with how these things are not being called. Uh it's not great. Um, you know, Skylar Diggins has gone down a couple times, I think, this year, if I remember correctly, in dangerous possession. Um, Photographer Sam focused a little too much on stud buds. I do not give a fuck. I cannot use those photos um effectively. I mean, you know. Yeah, it just becomes a player safety thing, right? You have to, these are the best players in the world in this league, and you have to officiate for them properly so that they can continue to deliver a great product and keep their health intact. And it's pretty remarkable that that's not a thing. I don't really have an answer. Unfortunately, a lot of us are wondering this. Um, so yeah, we'll see how much Brittney Sykes helps that. But yeah, let's get back to this game. Sorry. The fourth quarter, yes, Courtney Williams tried to wake up, and really this was the Dejanay Carrington quarter. Dejanay played 10 minutes. She scored 10 points in this one, two rebounds, and a steal to really lead Minnesota in this game. Nneka Ogwumike had a big fourth quarter, three-pointers, 11 points, 2 points for Gabby, 2 points for Ezzy, five for Erica, including a three-pointer for Skylar as well. Um, yeah, this one was a heartbreaker because at the end, Seattle had missed a bunch of three-pointers in the first, like, let's say 7 minutes of this fourth quarter. And then the last 2 to 3 minutes, they hit a bunch of them and a bunch of clutch ones, but they had to play the foul game. They couldn't get the shot. They couldn't force a turnover. And it kept being a 5 point deficit or a 4 point deficit. Um, and Seattle would come down, make the three-pointer to foul, and then it would, get pushed up again. So they did overall a pretty decently solid job. Alana Smith goes 2 for 10. Jalen McBride goes 2 for 9 with only one made three-pointer. She gets to the foul line 9 times though, for nine makes. Um, makes. That's near Seattle's total free throws. Seattle 10 for 12 from the free throw line tonight. I don't know about that. Uh, Yeah, Minnesota effectively doubled the free throws that Seattle shot. Um, but yeah, I guess we'll move on. I try to move on from that. The more I look at it, the more angry I get. The 3 point shooting just helped the Lynx catch fire. And by the time that the Storm were able to get there, it was too late. Uh, is unfortunate. The rebounding, Seattle loses in the rebounding department again, 34-24. They move the ball well. They win the assist department. The turnovers didn't help either. Seattle, at one point, I think in the first half, I cited this. They had gotten a good chunk of their points off turnovers, which was good. They were, using their defense to chug along, and then it flipped in that second half. 13 steals for the Lynx in this game, 7 for Seattle, 17 total. Oh no, the turnovers point. Okay. Minnesota conceded 19 points off turnovers. So that's still, I guess the steal sticks out to me a little bit more. So fast break points as well. Yeah. Minnesota was able to get out and run. Normally, Seattle prides itself on being a fast break point team. Um, Normally, the last few years at least. Uh, Minnesota was able to shoot the three ball well in the second half and get out and run a little bit there. So I don't know. I really thought they could win this game. Coming into it, no fee. Um, I really thought they could win this game. Um, I thought they'd come out pretty fiery, considering they lost those last two. I was a little worried about the fact that they were missing two players off their bench and Alicia Clark and Zaya Cook in the trade to acquire Brittney Sykes, which we'll talk about next. Um, but I asked Coach Quinn about that. I asked, "Hey, how do you manage that when you're effectively down two players?" But as soon as I asked that, I realized I was like, "Well, it's not like you really play the bench anyway, so I'm not gonna get much of an answer here, am I?" And I didn't. So um, yeah, just trying to look over here at the other sort of standout statistics. Not too many of them that really make your eyes go. But yeah, we'll talk about the Brittney Sykes trade. Put this game to bed. Just an ugly one. Um, in how they lost it. They showed the fight, which is great. Some of the newer reporters that were here at Clan Pledrino were like, "Oh, well, he showed great fight," and I'm like, "Yeah, they showed great fight just about every single game. Like that doesn't matter anymore. You can show great fight, but great fight is not going to get you seeding in the postseason or into the postseason in general, right? So, you know, um, I don't know. It's tough, man. I don't feel super great. I still think they make the playoffs. I don't think that's much of a question as much as some of our fans on the internet. Um, Mostly Blues. We had one fan being like, "I don't know if they're going to even make the playoffs." I'm like, "They'll make the playoffs. I'm not worried about that part." Um, I've had them as a second round team. I don't know if they get that. Um, so uh, sorry, I was like, aggregator account popped up on my feed. Um, where where was I? I lost it. Oh yeah, we'll talk about the Brittney Sykes trade. So yesterday, Seattle completed a trade to send Brittney Sykes. Um, they get Brittney Sykes, and the Storm send Alicia Clark, Zaya Cook, and Seattle's own first round pick for the upcoming draft to the Mystics. Zaya Cook was immediately waived by the Mystics, which is tough. From what I understand, Zaya was included just as a salary, just to make the money work between the two teams. I said on our last Storm postgame report that Seattle was going to need to move Alicia Clark's contract if they were going to trade for anybody, and they did. I was really surprised at that. I did think it was going to need a first round pick to sweeten that, and it did. Um, so what is interesting though is that if her hoop stats is correct, Seattle has $56,000 in cap space. Hmm. Uh, so we'll see about that. We'll see what they do there. I fully expect them to do something with it. I don't know what they could do. It would be kind of funny if they go and get, I don't know why I played the name pronunciation on for hoop stats for Dom. Um, could be interesting. Maybe there's a Zaya Cook reunion in the works. We'll see. Who knows if I know what I'm talking about? We'll see. But yeah, see, I have to wonder if Seattle does something with that open roster spot, just considering um, how short the bench has been. I imagine with the Brittney Sykes deal, you move Erica Wheeler back to the bench, put in Brittney in her role, keep everything else the same. You get some more scoring off the bench. That would give you Erica, Dom, and Tiffany Mitchell as the first three off the bench. They really haven't used Mackenzie Holmes much at all, generally. So you know, and I don't blame them. I mean, I'm sure there are situations they would have liked to, but yeah, I do wonder what Seattle does with that $56,000 because you have to imagine that they would bring in somebody um to help them more. And because even last night in the post-game press conference, Erica Wheeler talked about how the starters are fatigued. So we'll see there, putting her back on the bench, getting Erica's spark off the bench and what she can do. And getting Brittney Sykes into the starting lineup certainly could help quite a bit. So um, we'll see about that. But yeah, I like the trade. I like the trade. Brittney Sykes has given Storm fans hell throughout the years because of the fits that she's given Jewel Lloyd when guarding her. Don't have to deal with Jewel Lloyd anymore. Don't have to deal with Brittney Sykes anymore, or at least this season, because she's on your team. So yeah, great defensive player. Uh, the resume speaks for itself in that regard. 15 points per game this year, not bad. Noel Quinn did talk about adding some more scoring punch with this acquisition. So that's great to see. You could use it, when there are the games we've talked about where Skylar, Gabby, and NECA, are carrying the scoring. It's no one else. Or when you don't get enough from one of those players, um, who's going to pick up the slack? Dom's been doing that lately, but you'd like to do more, especially if you're going to be a true contender. So I liked it. I like the trade. You move off of Alicia Clark's contract, as we talked about on the last episode. Love what Alicia Clark has done for this franchise previously, but it's been time to go. What was interesting to me um, was some of the reporting from Alexa Philippou with ESPN. Uh, there we go. Where is it? Oh no, Ramona Shelburne reported this. That the Storm heavily recruited Clark this offseason and she took less money to return to Seattle. Who the hell was going to pay her more than $185,000? Um, oops, I got to respond to that. Uh, anyway, the rest of the tweet goes expectations for her role and team have fallen short. She'll have a larger role in Washington. Yeah, she'll have a larger role in Washington. Washington's trying to rebuild. Uh, you know, so they do own 3 first-round picks, including their own. Nice. Um, so Seattle is obviously trying to win a title this year, as much as they've shown deficiencies in trying to do that. They are trying to do that this year. So I don't really care that it's an expiring contract because most of the contracts in the league are expiring. But, so I don't know. I like it. You get more guard depth. You get another strong guard. Um, she does get some scoring punch. She's not great shooting the 3-pointer. Um, par for the course for the Storm team. Uh, outside of Gabby, occasionally NECA, and sometimes Skylar, sometimes Erica. A lot of sometimes. So yeah, they have for her hoop stats salary cap database. They've got $56,000 available. $56,000, 56,302. Get the exact. So I think it's good. I don't understand why you'd be upset with it unless you're like an Alicia Clark super fan, which again, I'm sure they exist, but this makes the Storm better. So yeah, sorry if it was just a good amount of rambling and talking about the foul calls, but I mean, I was asked to do that for one, and also it's a real thing. It is a real thing. I just don't know when that would be addressed. So until we see you next time, take care of yourselves, be well, do whatever you can to make today a great day.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, were you going to watch the Seattle Storm away games this year?
Away games. Well, Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports. So I was thinking of coming here if that's okay with you.
I think that makes a lot of sense. See you all here.